been in this decade for 3 years now. Do you think we'll ever get back?
Very hard.
How you expect to protect this pitiful race, I do not know.
Earth's shield is now breachable.
Can you feel the time force growing? It's working. Just as we planned.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever the time is where you are in this flux-torn state. I'm Anthony, and I'm here as ever with my co-host, Mr. Barry Nugent, as we look at Doctor Who, Series 13, Flux, Episode 5, Survivors of the Flux. How are you, Barry?
I'm pretty shocked. That was a pretty epic intro. It's impressed me.
I thought I'd give it a go, you know.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I was like proper. I was sitting back waiting for my time, but I was like, no, I might just let him keep talking because it was like you had gravitas.
Once he doesn't sound like an idiot. He's not the rambling fool I've come to know.
Yeah, I was genuinely surprised. Where's the rambling buffoon I'm used to?
Where's the Bojo or Geek Syndicate?
So what I signed up trying to outshadow me. The hell?
Yeah, so this is episode 5, Survivors of the Flux, so the penultimate episode. I'll just give the old synopsis before we start, and then we'll just get into it, I guess. So, as the forces of evil mass, the Doctor, Yaz, and Dan face perilous journeys and seemingly insurmountable obstacles on their quest for survival. That's it.
Wow, not a lot.
No, not a lot, and I also feel that doesn't sum up what happens in the episode.
No.
But there we go. So so episode 5. Thoughts?
So my thoughts are, I want to start at the end by saying that I actually, I purposefully did not watch the cliffhanger. Not the cliffhanger, sorry.
The next
trailer.
time stuff.
Yeah, the next time, because it's the last one. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to know. Because again, it was a. Actually, no, we'll get on to cliffhanger because I suddenly just had a thought about it. I've got to say, overall, anyone that knows me would probably know what my reaction is going to be to a significant part of this episode.
To the companion plot.
Yeah. I was all over that like a pot of honey.
I can see why, but I genuinely loathed it.
Tough.
that's an exaggeration. Actually, I didn't loathe it. I just thought the time could have been better spent.
Whereas I disagree. I think the problem. So overall, before we get on any problems, I think overall I actually really enjoyed the episode.
Okay.
When I step away from it, much like the Flux itself, is where the cracks start to appear. Because I think part of the, so you said you loved the companion episode, the companion section of it. The problem with the companion section part of it, I loved it because it's that kind of
that pulpy vibe.
It's the pulpy adventure vibe. The problem with it was, now bear with me, was it was too short.
Okay.
It was so, there was so much stuff they're trying to cram in.
Yeah.
That the story that they were trying to do should have been longer. Do you get what I mean?
I do. I completely get what you mean.
Because so basically that whole sequence of them traveling around the world, trying to find out the date the world's going to end or something, so they can find a way to help or whatever it is. You could have done a whole episode out of that.
Yeah.
Because there was a nice little scene where they get attacked on the train by
the waiter with the serpent tattoo.
By the serpent. You know, implying that he's working for the Grand Serpent, but that's the only person that you see, and there's no real explanation as to
why he was attacking or anything.
Yeah, and I think that would have been a great way to have this sort of almost like cult-like thing that's chasing them around the world, headed up by the Grand Serpent. You know, and we see him kind of ordering them around, and we know why he's doing it.
Yeah,
but I think the problem is they haven't got the time to set all that up, and they certainly haven't got the time to pay that what they were doing.
No, I think that is the biggest problem with this episode overall, to be fair, because I've had to split my notes up basically into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 storylines that were going on.
Wow, was there that many?
Yeah, that was breaking it down into character groups, basically. So you've got Yazdan and Professor Jericho, who I'm glad is still around.
Mm-hmm.
Love that dude. You got Bell and Carvanister.
Yeah.
Doing their bits. You've got Vinda, who was going after Azure and Swarm. You've got Unit stuff with the Grand Serpent, and then you've got the Doctor.
Yeah.
Far too much for one episode.
I feel like you could have had the companions and you could have the Doctor. Those two stories, because in many ways they were the two prevalent storylines.
Yeah.
Because I think the stuff with Vinda and Swarm, you needed to have that little bit. Just the only reason they had that little bit, just so when the Swarm turns up at the end, they could explain it and go, we used human, we used blah 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 to power our machine to get us here.
Yeah.
But to be honest, you already just told us how you got it, so you didn't even need to have that scene.
Yeah.
And God, it sounds like I'm coming down on it now, and I did enjoy it. But I don't know if it's like a budget thing or whatever. But seriously, I don't know. Other than like Space Bungle, I don't know aliens left.
No, so this is something that I was thinking about this just earlier today, because I was trying to piece everything together, and there were elements, especially about Yazdan and Professor Jericho's bits, that just didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost think there was enough story in this Fluxing for 2 more episodes, and I'm wondering if it was originally written as like an 8-part thing or a 10-part thing, and then got reduced down. Because, and the reason I say that is with the Yazdan and Professor Jericho stuff, like you say, that you could have had a whole episode out of that without just leaving you with ridiculous physical humor, stupid jokes, nonsense, and getting into Nepal before 1951 and finding an English-speaking hermit, because no one was allowed into Nepal until 1951. Its borders were closed. Right? That irritated me. I'm currently reading a history of the Gurkhas, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. But they went from trying to find artifacts to piece together stuff about the Flux, which was the mission that the Doctor gave them via the hologram, to writing a message outside the Great Wall of China to tell Carvanister to come and get them when he doesn't even have a time machine, to Williamson turning up and taking them off on another adventure. So it just seemed to not resolve, you know what I mean? It just kind of jumped and almost changed track completely. And I feel like there was like one or two half episodes worth of plot there for both of those things, for you to try and do one, realize you couldn't, organically go the other route, sort of thing. That was just cut, is what I feel.
I think the thing is when you kind of deal, I know when I've dealt with doing multi-character stories, it's always a tricky beast. But it's trying to kind of leave that trail of breadcrumbs in the back without it being too signposted, just so that the scenes kind of feed into each other a little bit better. And I think there were times in this episode where it did just jump.
Yeah.
And the narrative thread didn't necessarily follow.
And I think so. Like for me, like the unit scenes, they were a bit more organic because they were a bit better signposted, and you knew there was time passing between. Although I have other issues with those scenes. Oh, I'm full of issues this week.
But do you think those issues are sprung from being a long time Who fan?
Yeah, they absolutely are. With the unit stuff, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Not so much with the Yazdan and Professor Jericho stuff, but yes, definitely with the unit things. Take with a pinch of salt with those when we get onto them.
Yeah, I mean, what I didn't get, when we haven't even gotten to the Doctor yet, so I feel this might be a longer episode, but what I didn't get about the Grand Inquisitor's plan is, so he can clearly travel through time.
Yeah.
And so his scheme was to get involved with Unit so he could get
close down Unit. But then wasn't he in charge Unit by the end to turn around to tell them all to turn all your guns? Oh no, he wasn't. No, he was talking to the Centaurans then, wasn't he? Yeah.
But it seemed like an awfully convoluted plan. Whereas if you could travel through time, surely you'd just do it in a way to stop Unit from being formed in the first place.
Yeah, I mean the kind of the excuse I came up with for him and his plan with that is the fact that going back to the things that they've referred to in Who is in general recently is like Unit being a fixed point, and the Doctor would have noticed if suddenly Unit never existed.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Whereas like doing a slow infiltration and closing it down at a point when the Doctor's been off world quite a lot, because you think about between like 2015 and 2017, the Doctor wasn't really around. There weren't many Earth-based episodes. Do you know what I mean? So it's like he wouldn't have really noticed, or she wouldn't have noticed that you didn't think until she tried to phone them in the Dalek episode at New Year, kind of thing.
But that's working on the but also as well, that's working on the basis that we're making that assumption.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It was nothing was explained or anything. I say I did quite like those scenes though. I thought he was proper creepy in them.
Yeah, he's a great villain.
Yeah,
I have to say
he is a good villain.
And I hope, because I've seen some chatter online that like people are saying, oh, maybe he's going to regenerate into the Master, and I really hope they don't do that, because he's a great villain in his own right.
Yeah, I hate when fans do that. It's like, and I'm going to do something similar in a bit because I'm going to have a unit run. But when fans go like, oh yeah, this is a great character, he must be the Master, sort of thing, like, And the annoying thing is, what I've found with a lot of stuff around Flux is when you see like a fan theory, it's actually turned out to be right. Which is, it's usually it's kind of like, you throw enough poop and something sticks, like, but with this, nearly everything I've read about a fan theory has actually transpired sort of in this last episode, came to be the thing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of part of it's like, oh, I wish someone hadn't said that, because it almost seems like Chibnall's like getting these ideas and going back in time and writing them in. But I mean, you probably guessed what my issue with Unit is, which is the whole 1958 thing, it being founded when Unit didn't exist until 1968 at the earliest.
Although the idea of it was that wasn't even founded then. It was just an idea. He wasn't even called Unit, was it?
It was the United Nations Task Force. It was called at that point. UN Task Force, you called it.
Yeah.
At the beginning, the guy who was setting it up. But then in in the 60s segment, so they had 1958 bit, then they had the second bit, which was either in 1960 something or 1970 something, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But Brigadier, so the Brigadier was there as a corporal at the same time that he should have been a colonel in the regular British Army. Just really irritated me.
Okay. Do you feel better now that you've got that out of your system?
No, because now I feel like you're just going tosser under your breath.
No, God, no, not at all. Go on.
I feel like one of those fans all of a sudden.
One of those fans. I've got to say, okay, then, to put it onto a positive keel, I really, really, really liked the scene between Kate and the Grand Inquisitor. Yeah,
that was like a proper confrontation. It was almost reminiscent of, and we've referred to it before in one of these, the Anthony Stewart Head episode.
Yeah,
David Tennant. It was that kind of meeting of personalities.
Yeah, I just love that I see you. It's like, don't even be trying none of your nonsense, because I'm weird. And then I like the fact that she goes to her house, and obviously he's rigged the house to blow. And the minute the house blows, she just rings, says, "Yeah, I'm going dark," and that's
going
it.
Dark. Yeah, I must admit there was like for like a few seconds, maybe 10 seconds, while she was approaching the door, I actually thought they're going to kill her off.
Right.
So I thought that was quite well. I don't know whether it was because there was like no music or something. There was something about it that just made me think maybe she's going to go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I obviously being big Finnish fan as well, I'm loving all the new Unit series stuff. So and I've just finished listening to a box set because it came out like in November, and it's like, so I was sort of like properly invested in Kate and Unit and Osgood, and I like the fact that they're still around.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. But they're going dark, and presumably we'll have something to play next week, I imagine.
Yeah. I was gonna say, going back to before we get onto the Doctor stuff, going back to the story, and I kind of listened to what you said. I 100% agree with you that whilst I loved the fact that it was a kind of adventurous Indiana Jones sort of romp was what they were going for, I think the like the pratfalls and the comedy stuff just it didn't land.
For me, that was what ruined it, to be honest.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is I feel like a lot of shows now are kind of falling into that kind of Marvel trap, where everything's a kind of zinger and everything's like a one-liner, and you know they set up a scene where you feel it's going to be really sort of serious and somber, and then no, it's not, kids. We're going to drop some more one-liners. So it's like when they went to see the Hermit.
Yeah.
And even before he opened his mouth, I was like, oh no, please don't make it.
Yeah.
Please don't make this like a Marvel joke thing. And it was, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah, and it wouldn't even be so bad if it was well done. You know, but it just wasn't.
No.
It didn't land. It didn't fit. Just, I don't know. It just didn't work. And
it was a real. I was just gonna say, you know, I see now I'm going to be that kind of. Now I'm going to be that fan. Had I been writing this, but you know, it would have been a real way to have shown, because obviously, like Yaz was taking charge of it all and stuff like that. And like you say, given her background and stuff, I didn't have a problem with that. That was fine. She's a police officer, so she's going to take charge and stuff. But I felt like they kind of almost dumbed down the other two a little bit, so she was more.
Yeah, to make her look better almost, yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't need to do that. And I felt like when they went to see this episode would have been a chance as well to kind of had Professor Jericho like a little bit more in his element. I know he's still out of time, but you know, he could have been speaking like Nepalese. I've probably got the language wrong now, but you know what I mean. He could have been speaking different languages or something like that. And, you know, and
yeah, because they haven't got the TARDIS to translate for him.
No, you know, and maybe it's a little bit closer to his time, so he could kind of be a little bit more in his element.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity, which is why I'm saying that I felt like it needed to have been a longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. As I say, I mean, I was harsh earlier. I said I loathed it. I didn't loathe it. I just every time it cut back to them, I thought, oh, and here we go. It's going to be another pratfall.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
It didn't
need it at all.
Yeah.
But on a positive note, on those sequences was the direction of them and the lighting and everything really did make it feel proper pulpy. You know, and to the point where it was only after I watched the episode where I thought, hang on a minute, how did they get the money to pay for all them clothes and them trips?
I mean, I thought that anyway. Well, someone else made a really good point was that village was supposed to be all penned off.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Wasn't
that the 1967 version of that village though? Or was it the entire thing? See, again, I'm not.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch. But I got because that little girl had said to him like, "You can't leave. We can't leave." You know, they said they won't hurt us as long as we don't go beyond the border of the village. Also, what happened to the little girl?
Yeah, I know.
Hey, yeah. What happened to the little girl though?
Well, we know she grew up to be the old woman.
Yeah, but did they just dump her then?
Did you? Oh yeah, they just left her, I suppose. Yeah.
Wow. I think there's a lot. That's what I mean. I think
there's an episode there.
There's a lot of story threads that are getting dropped.
Yeah.
You know, she could have been like a short round kind of character with him. She seemed pretty capable.
Pretty harsh as well, though. To be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's why they dumped her.
Yeah. Well, feeding for crocodiles, he wasn't nice to me.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a really good point. That we just never heard from her again. And given how much of that episode was based around her,
yeah, that's true.
Seems a bit of a
bit of an odd one.
Yeah. So let's get on to the actual sort of thrust of this episode, which was the Doctor confronting Division, which was exactly as I said it was going to be.
Yeah.
So it was the old woman who's running division, and it was the Time Lords.
Yeah, and it was not only that, it was the Doctor's
Doctor's mum.
yeah.
Wow.
I don't want to say mum,
Adopted.
but yeah, adopted mum. Yeah.
Yeah, the Doctor's adopted mum, Brenda Husher. To which I just so actually like the scenes between her and the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
There was some good back and forth banter. I love all that kind of confrontation stuff. I loved it. It didn't need, and this seems to be this common trend at the moment. You know, maybe it's because I've come fresh off watching Bond, but
Yeah,
you know, Bond's done it. You know, it's
there
where everyone.
There has to be that direct connection for some reason between characters.
You can't just have an enemy be an enemy anymore. It's like there's got to be an extra motivation. They've got to be linked to the hero or heroine. You know, whether they're like the long lost dad, brother, mum, cousin twice removed or something. Do you know what I mean? Postman. Yeah.
You know, dog walker.
Dog walker. Yeah. Given what our motivations was, you just didn't need it. You didn't need it.
Nah.
It as it went on, it bothered me less because more things came in that bothered me more. And God, it really sounds like I've gone from like really enjoying the episode to just seems like I'm just ripping it apart.
No, but that's what these are about, though, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Like I say, you know, I didn't not enjoy the episode. There's just a lot wrong with it when you review it.
So when you break down the division section of it, right? So here's my thing, and I actually made notes. I never make notes. So my two top questions I had, which I've written at the top. So my first question was like, why not kill her?
No, because it's much easier to wipe out an entire universe, Barry. Apparently,
I don't just kill her. I didn't. Obviously, I get the fact it's Doctor Who and it's her show and I get all that. But did you just kill her? I mean, you had plenty of opportunities.
Yeah.
And for most of it, she didn't even know you. I mean, I understand. I mean, what I quite liked is the fact of because the minute she discovered who Division was and that they were out there, they were like, we need to take her out because she's just going to cause us nothing but trouble.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, because it's kind of like all the stuff before. I saw someone say, oh, what were they doing up until now? And it's like, well, the Doctor wasn't a threat to them up till then because she didn't know. So I've got no problem with that at all.
Yeah. But like, and I guess the argument would be when they took the memories and put them in the fob. See, who gets it? Yeah, okay. No, I'll just go with that. I was trying to think about the fugitive Doctor and her watch and stuff. It's a lot of watches. But my thing was, it's kind of like you got into all that trouble to catch her with the Weeping Angels. Just kill her.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to be. I know it's a family show and all that, but you just kill her. The Division have made no bones about the fact that they kill people and they do whatever they got to do to get the job done and blah blah blah. But just kill her.
Yeah.
So it seemed we just fell into that classic trap of like you've actually got her now and you're just wandering about explaining stuff to her.
Just literally because for me the thing I least liked the most, or I disliked the most, I should say, least like not being English. The thing I disliked the most about this bit was the whole Doctor thing for me just literally felt like an exposition dump. And there were moments of it that were nice.
Yeah, there was.
There were some nice interactions and stuff, and then we'll get onto the cliffhanger bits later. But there was some good stuff there, but it was literally just exposition.
But forgetting the exposition stuff, I can forgive that to a certain extent because they've got to get the information out.
Yeah.
There's probably other ways they could have done that because I think some of that heavy lifting could have been handed off to Space Bungle way earlier on.
Yeah.
I don't think we need. Again, this is what I was saying before. I don't think we should have had to have got to episode 5 to find out exactly what Division's deal is.
No.
Which, to be honest, I mean, we've watched enough. Any geek who's watched enough sci-fi shows probably knew what Division was going to turn out to be anyway. I mean, basically, it's the same as What's the one in Star Trek? Section 9.
Section 31.
Section 31, sorry. Yeah. It's the same old deal. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. It's, clandestine group does what it wants, for the betterment of all, but does whatever it needs to do to get the job done. But here's my thing, right? Here's a couple of things now. So these were started off by Gallifrey and all the rest of it. It's great. So where were they when Time War happened? The Time War happened then.
Oh, they were checking the other room.
Right. So when all the Time Lords got wiped out and stuff.
Yeah, they were just fixing their nails, mate.
I'm fairly confident that's something they should have really got involved with. I mean, just.
I think what happened was they got double booked.
Yeah, and I think that's where you have to take it as artistic license, in the fact that obviously that's another showrunner, and Chim's coming, and basically he's doing it his own way, and this is his own reinvention of who. So you just go with it, But it was that kind of was at the back of my mind, because even though it is his own thing, that's a hell of a big event to have, but not even explained away with a line.
Yeah,
she could have just said, "Where were you?" With the Time War and blah blah blah. Although that,
not even that though. It's where were they when the Master re-wiped out Gallifrey only one season ago?
Yeah, good point.
In fact, only about 5 episodes ago, really.
Yeah.
If they're still about, which they clearly are.
Yeah.
Or one of them is, at least.
I mean, for a civilization that's been destroyed as many times as Gallifrey seems to have been, they're pretty resilient.
Yeah, they're as bad as those bloody Daleks. Just keep doing that.
It's getting a little bit like that. I mean, I like the fact that their headquarters are sits between two universes.
Yeah,
and that's pretty sweet. And that's why the Doctor couldn't find them. I like that. Again, my other biggest thing is, so what they've established is the Doctor is the most dangerous enemy in the entire universe. So much so that they've had to wipe out an entire universe just to take her out of the equation. That hasn't worked. So they've had to go and capture her. And when you've got her, one, you don't kill her, and then you leave her with a nude.
No, worse than that. You offer to take her into the other universe with you.
But no, not even that. I kind of understand. I mean, that's classic. I get the whole kind of join us, join the dark side. I get that. And she was part of Division once upon a time, so I get that.
Yeah, but
might as well make make the best of a bad deal. But what I don't understand, because that was towards the end of the episode. Do you know what I mean? What I don't understand, and she was in bargaining mode. Do you know what I mean? She was just trying to get her on side. And maybe there was an element of maybe the Doctor was her greatest experiment, so she didn't want to kill her off. It's that thing of I kind of get that, even though that didn't necessarily land as well. But what I didn't fundamentally get, at the beginning, she arrived there as a threat, as the most dangerous threat the Division has ever faced, supposedly. And your only guard there is a nude. And the Division is supposed to be. She made this big speech about the Division is everywhere. We use all these different species. I mean, they had literally hundreds of weeping angels command, and they get the Doctor there, and she's literally just standing and walking the most fortified place that she should. The most dangerous place.
Yeah, the control hub.
The control hub of the Division, and she's just quite happily wandering about like she's in Tesco's, and they've just got a nude there, and then she leaves her. She then leaves her in the room with a nude, and then she just goes off to do whatever she's doing, knowing what the Doctor's MO is. At the minute she walks, she even just gave her a big speech about we have to take you out because you inspire hope, and then you leave her alone with someone.
Leave her alone with someone that she inspires hope to.
And then what does she do? She inspires hope. I was just
Yeah. So what did you make then of the old Ravagers turning up?
Right. So my thing was, you made all that song and dance. I mean, in one respect, it was quite. No, it wasn't, because I just thought you made all that big song and dance about how powerful Division is. It's been going since forever, and it's literally taken Ravagers, like, feels like a couple of hours and some Duracell batteries to get there, and they just took her out.
Just gone.
And I just thought, so you got no forgetting the whole you're outside universe, but you don't even have like a basic security.
Yeah. Not even any Jadoon or something around.
Yeah, as like I said, even if you go to Oldie, there'll be a security guard outside. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it's like you haven't even got basic security. It's literally like just one person in a control room and a nude, and it just rock. It would have made more sense to me. And again, I don't know if it's a timing thing, but it would have made, if they'd teleported in and then suddenly like loads of guards run in.
And
it's like a pitch battle. Yeah, and they take out loads of the guards, and it's kind of like, but it just felt rushed.
Yeah, like you've left the door wide open. We're coming in. Bye.
Yeah.
But it's kind of though. I don't know why he does this, Chibnall, but he did it with the Shard as well, didn't he? He just gets rid of potentially interesting villains. And it was worse with the Shard, I suppose. But with with her, there was more to do with her. To be fair,
she was great with the limited time that she had in it.
Yeah.
I thought she was great and had the potential to be like a really great recurring villain. Oh no, God.
That's why I'm a bit worried for the Grand Serpent, because I've got a feeling he's just going to vanish as well.
Yeah. Unless he's the master, he's done.
Yeah, because he is. Because again, like you said earlier, he's a proper villain, really well played as well.
Yeah.
Although I keep thinking he's played by Russell Kane, the comedian.
Yeah.
But it's not. I keep looking at him thinking, what's he doing? No, it's not. But yeah, no. But yeah, he's just gonna. I'm sure he's just gonna get dusted or wiped out. Or the Sontarans are just gonna kill him or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And I thought, and then the cliffhanger was kind of like the same cliffhanger we've already had.
Yeah, he's coming at the Doctor with his clicky fingers.
Yeah. Now it's your turn. So I kind of felt like there was going to be much more of a relationship between the Doctor and the Ravagers.
Yes.
Like a history. There was much. The way it was played in the first episode, like they were ancient foes that kind of battled each other
across time.
Yeah, and we've just not really got a sense of that at all.
No, absolutely.
They just seem like regular villains.
Yeah,
and
so it's quite interesting because in my head I contrast it a bit with one of Sylvester McCoy's stories, Curse of Fenric, where he basically, they come in and it's not a character who's been in the series before, but you do get a sense that him and the Doctor have been fighting before across aeons, and it's like this proper vendetta going on.
Yeah.
But like you say, you didn't get any of that from the Ravagers, other than that first episode where they kind of dropped that hint. But like you say, nothing has come of it.
Yeah. And my other thing was like, I thought I'll come back to it. I quite liked the Williamson dude and what the tunnels actually turned out to be. Even though we've not had, but I quite liked it. I quite liked that, and I quite liked that he was so relieved that someone finally got what he'd been doing. I just hope that we get an explanation as to how did he know to be digging down there, and who put those doors there.
Yeah, and what's behind door number 9?
Yeah, I just get the impression there's going to be I think someone has said this online, and I kind of agree with them. I mean, given the fact you've got one more episode, this isn't getting wrapped up.
No, and I mean, like you said, with that teaser picture they put out of the TARDIS for the Christmas episode, with all the windows are cracked and stuff, weren't they?
Yeah.
And it just had that kind of like fluxy orangeness about it as well.
Yeah. So it may well be that a lot of elements get resolved, but the bigger picture will still be going
Still
on.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of which, I quite like the fact when the Ood was showing the Doctor like the universe, and she was like, "Yeah, but where's the rest of it?" And he's like, "No, that's all that's left."
That's it, dude.
And I think that's what I mean with the kind of, I think the scope of it is massive, much more so than they've done to date. But I think because of the fact that whenever you're using for crowd shots and stuff, it's just all humans. You don't get that same sense on the ground, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I mean, they tried to do it a bit with Belle's sort of like when she was introduced. You got a bit of a sense of at least other planets.
Yeah.
And there was that one shot in the opening where you saw those blue dudes just getting wiped out. But that was it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. It would have been great if she'd been going to other planets and there were actual aliens there and stuff like that. That would have really added to that this was like a cosmic threat.
Yeah,
going on.
I mean, at the moment, it seems like the universe is populated by humans and dogs.
Yeah. even if they had to use old footage because they didn't have the budget for it.
Yeah.
You know, that would have worked for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely get what you're saying. And as I say, I'm convinced that this was meant to be like a full season's worth of arcs, and they just didn't, for whether it was budget or constraints during COVID or what, they had to cram it into 6. That's definitely the impression I'm getting at the moment.
Yeah, which is a shame. It's a shame because there's a lot of brilliant stuff going on there, and I think, as I said, I feel like even when I watched the 6th episode, I feel like overall I'll say like I really enjoyed it. But there'd be a part of me that wondering, God, I wonder if this had 10 episodes. Yeah,
if you'd got a full season out of it, because like you say, that, you know, that bit could have been a Doctorless story episode. You know, the stuff with Yaz and Dan and Jericho.
Yeah.
Easily, you know, without any issues at all. And you could have had like one of the other bits expanded a bit as like a B plot to that episode if you wanted a B plot sort of thing, but probably wouldn't have even needed one, frankly. But yeah, I've been slowly getting this sense of there's more here than we're seeing as the series went on. Like the first couple of episodes were quite, especially episode 2. Episode 2 was quite, because you think about that second episode, it was so standalone that it kind of feels like other episodes would have been as well.
Yeah.
And you'd have almost had like a Flux heavy episode, a slightly more standalone episode that you could watch independently but move things along, you know, like episode 2 did. Then another Flux heavy one, which was, you know, them on time kind of thing, and then another sort of standalone-ish one, which, you know, almost like every other episode kind of thing, filling you in on the bigger picture kind of thing. And I'm just sort of getting the feeling now that what they've done is they've kind of done the first 3 episodes as planned, and then the last 3 have just been, in fact, maybe the first 4, to be fair. But you know what I mean? It seems like everything's just getting massively rushed now because there's no time to get it all out. So it just feels like this should have been a full season. I bet this was in Chibnall's head as a season, and it was, for whatever reason, it's been, you've only got 6 episodes, so he's done the best of that he could, because let's face it, it was filming during COVID times, probably didn't have a lot of time for rewrites anyway.
Yeah.
And
fair play, given this was done during COVID. I mean, they have done a phenomenal job.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had my little rants, my little issues and stuff, but yeah, overall, like you, I've been enjoying the thing, and like I said last week, I do want to, when it's all out, I do want to sit down in a nice warm room with a cup of tea and pretty much watch it through.
Yeah. The last thing I would say about this episode is going to be whatever it was, but it's another thing I wrote down. The question I've literally written down is, why not just grab it? So by that, what I'm referring to is the fob watch.
Oh yeah, because it was in like a box.
It wasn't even a box. It just had like a glass dome over it.
Yeah.
So my thing was,
you can't just open people's boxes.
Of course you can.
No, that's rude. That's stealing.
No, my thing was when she sort of said like, you found it. The minute you realise that's your watch, and that's got all your memories, and you've been traveling around the universe trying to find those memories, you would just grab it. And you know what it is, so you would just grab it and open it before anyone had a chance to stop you. Now, had she done that and there'd been some sort of force field or something like that, fair play.
Yeah.
But I would have rather had seen that. I'd rather have seen her make the grab for it.
Yeah, and fail.
Yeah. Than just stand there looking at it for Tay-Toon, whatever her name is, to sort of go, if you come with us, you can have it. Or I could just take it now. Because you're right, you're standing on the other side of the corridor.
Also, not being funny, but I'm pretty sure my body's younger and more spry than yours. I could probably lamp you.
Yeah, he's gonna. Well, I mean, yes, the other thing as well. It's like we'll just smack her and take it. They needed to show that
she couldn't just do that.
Yeah, you needed to show that the Doctor was on the back foot, and in those scenes, I did not get the sense the Doctor was on the back foot because there was nothing. There was no threat.
Mm.
You know, even when the Doctor was saying to her, she's going to kill me anyway eventually. Well, how is she going to do that? We haven't established what her powers are. Is she really powerful? Can she kill you with a thought? Blah, blah, blah. She's clearly not that powerful, given the fact she just got taken out.
So, yeah, like literally just like touched and gone.
Yeah, which is another thing I thought was like, maybe it's a double bluff. Maybe like actually she then reconstitutes somewhere else, like because you can't kill her that easily. That would be cool.
Yeah, I did. But to be honest, I was expecting that to have happened in the episode almost. Or maybe it'll be like the opener to next episode where she stops him from getting the Doctor by just being there again or whatever.
Because I would have thought surely you know what their powers are. You've had, eons, centuries, whatever, to sort of think maybe we should like come up with a defense just in case. She strikes me as that sort of, always be prepared type of person.
Yeah, but like as you say, though, I mean these things are, and it does seem to be getting easier in the last few series. But the discussion of them does not, and the things that the holes I find and stuff does not stop me from not enjoying Doctor Who. Because if I wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't be watching it. Likewise. So like all my little rants and stuff, they're just because I like having those rants and I like having these conversations, frankly.
Yeah.
And I like trying to think of ways and means around them and ways to explain them. That's part of the fun for me.
Doesn't take away from the enjoyment, because as I said, overall I enjoyed the episode, but just because I enjoyed something doesn't mean to say I have to give everything a free pass and there isn't stuff to discuss.
Exactly. And that's why I love doing these podcasts with you, to be fair, because I can have these conversations and seem like I'm ripping it apart, but yeah, actually it's just entertaining.
Yeah.
So I think, have you got anything else you want to raise? I think I've covered everything I was going to.
No, I've covered everything.
Cool. So let us know what you think, everyone. You can do that in the usual ways, which Barry will sum up in a bit. So next week we are in the finale, and I'm going to say finale in inverted commas because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the finale because Christmas and all the other specials are going to still be carrying this on, I think. Certainly Christmas, possibly even some of those other specials. But certainly the end of this 6-part run is coming up. Let us know what you've thought so far. Let us know if you've got any thoughts for next week. You can do that through the usual means, which are, over to you, Mr. Nugent.
You can contact us by email, which is geeks@geeksyndicate.co.uk. We're on Twitter at Geek Syndicate. We're on Instagram, Geek Syndicate again. We've got a private Facebook group. Just come along and knock on the door, and I'll let you in. I think that about covers it. Oh, and I just want to say as well, if you have been liking what we've been doing, either in this podcast or any other podcast on the GS feed, then buy us a coffee, a virtual coffee via Ko-fi, or subscribe to our Patreon page, and all funds go back into the production of podcasts and the general upkeep and running of Geek Syndicate.
Cool. So, on that note, thanks once again for joining us and listening to to our little rants and
Why didn't they just kill her, Ant?
just kill her? Because why kill someone when you can make an elaborate universe-destroying death trap?
I mean, it's got to be the most overreaction I've ever seen in any show.
Talk about a tantrum. Throwing your toys out the pram.
The Doctor knows, what are we going to do? Destroy the universe? Oh, it's a touch much.
So, kids throwing toys out the pram. They're basically throwing the pram out the pram.
Yeah. I've got a battalion of Daleks standing by. No. We're going to wipe out the universe. I've got this Flux film. We'll get okay.
Universe.
Seems a little bit over. It seems a bit over dramatic, but you're the boss.
Yeah. You run everything. Hang on, what happens to us? Don't worry about it. You'll be wiped out with everyone else. I mean, what?
Does make you wonder. She's got hope.
Does make you wonder though why the Weeping Angels and everyone are still working for them. It's like, hang on a minute, you doing what to the universe where we're from?
Yeah, good point. They're clearly not. Yeah, but it's it's probably on a need to know basis, isn't
it? yeah. And only the Doctor needs to know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's call it. So once again, thanks for listening, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Bye all.
Cheerio.